Episode 56. Testing the new bed. Come on, let's go. Jade kept pushing Dario's chest, but her push was powerless to refuse him. Dario didn't say anything. Instead, he took advantage of the time when she was talking to stick his wet tongue into her mouth. He was so fast that Jade didn't even have the chance to resist. Dario's nimble tongue moved wantonly in Jade's mouth. He sucked on her small tongue and allowed her saliva to flow. Their scents intertwined, and she felt suffocated. Jade wanted to escape, but Dario reached out his hand and grabbed the back of her head. They were closer now, and she felt that her soul was about to leave her. Slowly, Dario began to lose control. He held her head with one hand, and his other hand started to move around her body. When he touched her thigh, Jade suddenly woke up. She opened her eyes and pushed him away. Jade gasped for breath. She wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth and shouted, "No!" If she didn't stop him, she knew what would happen next. Dario was stunned for a moment, but he immediately calmed down. The fire in his eyes also dissipated, as if nothing had happened. Then, Jade carefully sat there. She bit her lips and refused to speak. The passionate kiss had ended, but Jade's heart could not calm down for a long time. Her face also became redder and redder. Dario looked at her with a dark gaze, but said nothing. He started the car and began to drive. Jade secretly looked at him and saw that he looked even more handsome while driving. His thin lips were pursed. There was not a trace of expression on his face. His emotions couldn't be made out. It was like the first time she met him at the bar. This side of him made her feel a little afraid. Dario didn't speak to her for a long time. He kept his eyes on the road and drove seriously. He went extremely fast. He didn't slow down even when he was over the speed limit, but no one dared to stop him on the road. Jade finally spoke in a low voice. "Are you angry?" Dario still didn't answer her. Jade bit her tender lower lip. Her lips still had his scent. "I didn't mean to push you away. It's just that I didn't want things to move so quickly." When Jade said this, her voice was very soft. She thought he wouldn't hear her, but he did. She didn't expect Dario's hearing to be so good. Dario turned the steering wheel and quickly glanced at her. There was a hint of a smile in his eyes, and the expression on his face was not as stiff as before. "I didn't think you were moving so quickly. You mean you want to take it slow with me? It looks like you're going to be my wife." "You misunderstood me. I didn't expect it to develop so quickly. Not in that direction." Jade slapped her forehead. Why did he twist her words every time? Every time she finished communicating with him, she felt that she had wasted more than 10 years of reading language. "What did I misunderstand?" Dario asked expressionlessly. She gave up. They arrived at the biggest furniture city in Washington. When they went in, Jade was confused. There seemed to be no customers in this furniture store. Could it be that business was bad? Dario answered her. "Probably they're all at work." Actually, he had sent people to clear the area ahead of time because he knew she didn't like people looking at her. Dario didn't want anyone to disturb them while choosing their furniture. Jade thought about it and agreed. After all, today was a working day. Although it was quiet, it was very comfortable. "Mr. Foster, Mrs. Foster, welcome to Dreamy Furniture Town. I wonder what you guys will choose." A respectful and pretty sales clerk came forward. Jade was a little surprised because the sales clerk seemed to know them, and she called her Mrs. Foster. It was the first time Jade heard someone call her that. Her heart couldn't help but stir. She had an indescribable feeling. "Let's choose the bed first." Jade originally wanted to say that she would look at the furniture first, but Dario rushed in front of her and said that he would choose the bed. She didn't speak anymore. "Okay, this way, please." Then the shopping guide took them to the beds. Jade was curious, so she pulled Dario aside and whispered in his ear, "Do you know her? How does she know who I am?" "It must be because you are beautiful," Dario whispered into her ear. Jade blushed again. She kept some distance from him and caught up with the shopping guide. Dario smiled. She was really cute. Most of the beds were European style and looked very luxurious. Jade glanced around and finally stopped in front of a big pink round bed. She went up and touched it. She found that the mattress was transparent. There was water inside and something was pressing on it. The water inside would automatically drain away. It was very beautiful, and the bed would not sink or deform. She thought it was fun. I wanted to look at it for a little longer. When the shopping guide saw Jade, she quickly went up and said, "This is our new waterbed. It's extremely comfortable for your back. It can even give you a massage. It also promotes sleep. It's a great choice for support and comfort. Many people with good taste choose this one." "Is it tap water inside?" Jade asked curiously. "Yes." "If it breaks, will the room be flooded?" When the shopping guide heard her, she was shocked for a moment. Then she restrained her laughter and explained, "Absolutely not, don't worry. The waterbed reduces pressure. Whether you sit or lay on the mattress, no water will flow out. Even if you have a pet, you don't have to worry about breaking it. The quality is very good. It is the perfect bed to sleep in. It's very cool and comfortable." Dario was also interested in the waterbed. He was happy, and he leaned close to Jade's ear and said in a low voice, "This waterbed is very good. I heard it's also very good for couples. It is like being in water. It feels wonderful." Dario spoke ambiguously, and he made Jade feel shy by what he said. She just thought this bed would be fun. She didn't think much about it at all. What fun? What married life? "This one is really comfortable. You can try it first. If you buy it now, we can send it to your house in 2 hours." The shopping guide was very enthusiastic. Jade heard her say that she could try it, but in her heart she was unsure. People were always full of curiosity about unknown things, but in front of strangers, Jade always felt a little shy. Just when she wanted to say no, Dario quickly pushed her onto the bed. Episode 57. The CEO gives a massage. Jade and Dario loved by his cold exterior, sharp eyes, and noble temperament. At that moment, Amelia felt that her heart was stolen by this man, who was even more handsome than the celebrities she had seen on TV. Her eyes were tainted with admiration and love. Jade noticed that something had changed about Amelia's eyes when she saw her look at Dario, but she didn't know what was going on in her heart. It made Jade a little uncomfortable, as if her things were going to be snatched away by someone. She frowned slightly and couldn't help but move forward to block Dario. She didn't want to see it, but even Jade, who was wearing high heels, she couldn't stop Dario's handsome face either. Although people often looked at him, Jade had never felt so disgusted. Jade, you really are capable. You just got dumped by my brother but quickly found another man?" Amelia's eyes were filled with disdain, and there was a trace of jealousy in her words. Amelia couldn't believe that such a handsome man was actually standing beside Jade. Amelia thought that together they looked like a flower stuck in cow dung, where Jade was the cow dung. "I already said that a man cannot have a woman who is below his social status. Their family backgrounds need to match," said Mrs. Stevens, who was standing at the side and was dressed very well. Her eyes were filled with disgust of Jade. She'd never liked Jade to begin with, and now that she saw how quickly Jade had found another man after getting dumped by her son, her impression of Jade became even worse. Amelia stared intently at the hands that were holding Jade. She was unhappy and jealous in her heart. "Jade, is this man your new boyfriend?" Amelia couldn't imagine how Jade could have found a man like Dario. "I am her husband." Just as Amelia said boyfriend, a cold voice suddenly sounded and interrupted her. "What? Husband? How could that be?" Amelia looked surprised, and her eyes were full of disbelief. She stared at Dario, but Dario was only looking at Jade the whole time. He didn't even glance at Amelia. "Hubby, I'm so tired. Let's go home." Jade didn't want to argue with Amelia. She gently leaned her body against Dario, and her voice became soft. Dario narrowed his eyes and held Jade tightly. He hugged her waist and gladly accepted her raw embrace. This was the first time Jade had called him by that special name. Episode 58. Call me, honey. Jade accepted Dario's request and added, "All right, honey, let's go." Dario kissed Jade on the cheek and carried her into the car. He opened the door carefully and put his hand on her head. He was afraid that she would hit it on the car, so he held her with one hand. He fastened her seatbelt and walked to the driver's seat. Amelia saw how Jade and her new man were, and the jealousy in her eyes deepened. Her skin, which was covered with delicate makeup, became a little twisted. "I'm really unlucky. I didn't expect to meet her." Miss Stevens' voice was a little low. At that moment, aside from disgust, there was hatred in her eyes. But her hatred didn't only come from Jade. It also came from Jade's mother, the woman who disappeared 15 years ago, Charlotte Ray.
Amelia, what are you looking at? We still have to buy things.
Mrs. Stevens looked at Amelia, who was staring off into space and feeling quite strange, as if she had lost her soul. Amelia suddenly turned around, jumped happily, and held her mother's hand.
Mum, you didn't even look. That man is so handsome. He is even more handsome than those celebrities on TV. I think I have met the man I was destined for.
Amelia pretended to be infatuated. Mrs. Stevens was stunned at first, but then she advised,
Daughter, what does that mean? Didn't you see Jade call him a little slut just now? Call him hubby?
Dario's car had already left, but Dario's beautiful figure kept appearing in her mind. Her heart had also left with him, and her eyes were filled with love. She felt something in her heart that she had never felt before.
I don't care that he is that slut hubby. As long as I like him, I will find a way to get what I want. Could it be that your daughter isn't as good as that little slut? I am prettier and richer than her. I believe that he would definitely fall in love with me.
Amelia narrowed her eyes and immersed herself in her beautiful fantasy. She really wanted him to hold her in his arms. But when she thought of Jade leaning in his arms and calling him hubby, coldness and endless jealousy instantly appeared in her eyes. Amelia didn't understand how Jade, that chicken, could be worthy of such a handsome person. Mrs. Stevens sighed helplessly and said indifferently,
Whatever you want, as long as you're happy.
Let's go, Mum. We'll go buy something. Amelia pulled Mrs. Stevens, and they went in. There was a smile on Amelia's face, as the first trace of a scheme flashed across her eyes. Dario, who was driving the car, had coldness in his eyes. When he asked for the area to be cleared, he meant for all the people within a 10-mile radius to clear out. He wanted no one to approach them. He absolutely couldn't let anyone from the Stevens family meet with Jade.
Let's go eat.
Dario slowed down the car. His eyes quickly became much gentler, and there was even a trace of love in them. Dario, let's go to the market to get some food. It's too expensive to go out all the time, and it's not healthy, Jade said. She reminded him that day they had already bought a new home and furniture. Those expenses were already big enough. She wanted to save some money. It was just that she didn't consider it at all. When she brought up the market, Dario seemed a little embarrassed. He really didn't know where the market was.
What did you call me just now?
Dario's eyes suddenly changed and looked confused. Sometimes he stared at the traces on her neck. As long as he saw the mark, he would be in a good mood.
Dario, no, it was when you were at the gate of the furniture. What did you call me?
Jade blushed and immediately changed the topic. Well, Dario, let's go buy some vegetables. I'm hungry.
Call me hubby first, and then I'll bring you to buy some vegetables. Otherwise, we'll go out and eat,
Dario said in a domineering tone. Jade covered her face and looked extremely shy. I was just putting on an act in front of the others, she said. She wondered why he took it seriously.
I'm waiting for you to make a decision. If you don't want to say it, let's eat at this restaurant.
Dario pointed at a steak shop on the side of the road with a cunning look in his eyes. Jade looked at it and was shocked. She knew at first glance that it was very high-end. Eating there would be very expensive, and she didn't want him to spend so much money. But in the end, she admitted defeat. She nervously pulled at her skirt and lowered her head. In a very quiet voice, she stuttered out one word. Hubby. Dario didn't say anything. It wasn't obvious whether he was happy or worried. Hubby, is that loud enough? Jade called out. Although it was quiet, it was a little louder than the first time. If only it was louder. Dario had a smile in his eyes. He quickly kissed her face. He knew it was not easy for her to do this, so he did not force her. Let's go, I'll take you to the supermarket. Then he brought her to the biggest supermarket in Washington to choose ingredients. When they were in there, men snuck glances at Jade from time to time, and women kept staring at Dario. Even the sales assistants were shocked. They wouldn't have expected to see such a handsome man and a beautiful woman together in the supermarket. It was simply pleasing to the eye. "Dario, what do you like to eat?" Jade was focused on shopping and didn't notice that the men around her were secretly looking at her. Whenever Dario found that someone was looking at his wife, his eyes became very scary and cold. He would deliberately hug her waist and cover her face to prevent them from looking at her. Eventually, they no longer dared to look. "Dario, what's wrong with you? I can't walk like this." Jade shyly looked at the hand on her waist and twisted it. "I will like whatever you choose." "Oh, are you done shopping? Let's go," Dario said. Not so soon. Let's buy more so we don't have to come back soon." Dario didn't listen to her. Instead, he pushed the cart to get the bill, but he didn't forget to hold her hand. "No need, let Lucas buy it next time." Isn't he the driver?" "He does everything." Dario thought highly of Lucas. He was Dario's driver, bodyguard, and secretary. He was good at everything. Dario could even get Lucas to block those girls for him at a critical moment. Jade also felt it was unbelievable how much Lucas did. "And you give him $300 a month? I think it's not easy for him." Dario couldn't help but smile. He didn't expect his little wife to be so kind. "Then I will give him a raise next month." Giving him $300 a day plus thousands in pocket money would not be easy. Before the bill was paid, Dario quickly grabbed 2 items and put them in the cart. Jade didn't see clearly and went to look in the shopping cart out of curiosity. When she saw what he had just taken, she was shocked. It was as if she was holding a box of reptiles. Why did you buy those?" Jade's face quickly turned red, making the men beside her pay more attention to her. Episode 59. A serious man is the most handsome. She saw 2 boxes of condoms in the cart. Then she noticed that everyone around was looking at her. She felt very awkward and anxious. She quickly covered her mouth and stopped talking. "Of course, these are for us," Dario answered frankly. There was uncertainty in his eyes, as if he were hinting at something. Jade felt like something was moving inside her body. She stared into those clear and bright apricot eyes and said angrily, "Dario, don't say any more. Put them back." Jade had thought that he wouldn't listen to her and just buy the 2 boxes by force, but he exceeded her expectations. He just put them back on the shelf without any expression on his face. This time it was Jade who was amazed. She couldn't believe he was actually that obedient this time. When Jade saw him put them back, she felt panic in her heart and had an ominous feeling. She saw Dario mutter softly, "All right, so you don't like to use those." Jade almost vomited when she heard that. Could he have misunderstood her meaning again? Jade once again felt that he had insulted her intelligence. She could never win when talking to him. Seeing that he was about to pay, she quickly caught up to him and pulled his sleeve. She asked anxiously, "Dario, did you misunderstand me? I didn't mean to say that I don't like to use those, but that we don't need them at all. Do you understand what I mean?" Jade felt that what she said was inaccurate. Dario nodded thoughtfully and said seriously, "I understand. I also feel that we don't need them. I would like something more direct. I didn't expect you to be the same." After saying that, he gently held her in his arms. There was a trace of a meaningful smile on his lips, and he quickly kissed her on the mouth. Then he gently helped her tidy up the hair on the corner of her forehead. Dario's gentle actions attracted the attention of several people. But at that moment, Jade was about to vomit from anxiety. Did they not speak the same language? Jade was so agitated that she stomped her feet. She desperately wanted to explain, but Dario didn't give her the chance. Every time she opened her mouth, he took the opportunity to kiss her. He didn't consider her feelings at all, just as he didn't consider the feelings of the people around him. He had secretly kissed her many times that day, and every time, he didn't ask her for her permission. "Don't be like this. Don't you see how many people are looking at us?" Jade's face was turning red from so many people looking at her. The grocery clerk who they paid didn't look at her. Instead, she looked at Dario with infatuation. "Hurry up and pay." Dario suddenly felt that the way she put her hands on her waist and urged him to pay was very similar to his wife. "Okay, then we'll kiss when there's no one else around," Dario whispered into Jade's ear. Before she could react, he quickly turned around and paid. As they left, The clerk who they paid was still reluctantly looking at Dario's back. Dreamy Furniture Town was very fast at delivering the furniture. Jade and Dario only went to the supermarket, but when they came back, the things they just bought were already in their new apartment, including the waterbed. When Jade entered the apartment, she almost thought she walked into the wrong place. With the new furniture, the place had the feeling of a home. The new place with its furniture made her feel more comfortable than she had at the house of the Winslet family. "Let's go to the room and take a look." Jade went to the room and found that the covers on the waterbed were already set. The black and white bed sheets and covers fit well with the decoration and style of the room. Although she liked pink, she still chose black and white in the end. She didn't want to be selfish and make Dario sleep in a pink bed with her. Jade really liked the waterbed. When she saw it, she could not help but go and lie down on it. It was very elastic and would immediately return to its original state when she got up. She was extremely happy, but she didn't notice that there was a pair of eyes looking at her. "Do you like it?" A low voice sounded beside her ear. Jade awkwardly stopped messing around on the bed. She turned and met Dario's deep eyes. She noticed a strange, new smell, and his eyes looked fiery, making her feel very uncomfortable. "Dario, are you hungry? I'm going to see what we'll eat tonight," Jade quickly said to change the topic. While talking, she tried to walk toward the kitchen, but Dario pulled her back. When he pulled her, Jade just happened to fall on his lap. Her heart suddenly began to beat violently. "I'm hungry. I want to eat. Can you let me go?" Jade sat stiffly on his lap and didn't dare to move because she was afraid that if she moved in that position, she would touch his. Wouldn't that make it even more awkward? Dario didn't say anything. He leaned on her thin shoulder, and their faces got very close. Jade could clearly feel the heat on his face. He hugged her for a long time but didn't do anything. Jade became even more nervous because he wasn't doing anything. She never knew what Dario would suddenly do to her. She only felt her heart beat faster and faster. "Dario, I'm really hungry. If you don't want to eat, I will eat by myself." Dario let go of her when he saw her angry face. Jade finally let out a sigh of relief. After he let her go, she immediately went to the kitchen to familiarize herself with the cooking utensils. To repay him, Jade decided to cook herself. She hoped that he wouldn't mind. Dario took this opportunity to quickly go to the study room and open the notebook that he had prepared earlier. That day, to accompany Jade, he had cancelled an important meeting and changed it to an online meeting. The others all waited in front of their computers for Dario to show up and give orders. Half an hour passed. Jade made a few home-cooked dishes and brought them to the living room. When she saw that Dario was not coming out, she carefully walked to the door of the study. Just as she was about to knock, she noticed that the door was open. When she saw him, Dario had a serious expression on his face. His sharp eyes looked even more profound than usual, and his serious expression had an indescribable charm. Occasionally, he would type rapidly on the keyboard, and then he would use his magnetic voice to give orders. His entire body gave off the feeling that he was a successful man. For a moment, he took Jade's breath away. Episode 60. Aunt Suzanne cheats with Mr. Carson? At that moment, Jade thought that Dario was more handsome than ever. She didn't know if agreeing to marrying him was right or wrong, but as she cooked in the kitchen, she felt good and smelled the fragrance of the food. She clearly felt at home in their new place, and it made her happy that she had a man waiting for her to have his dinner with. She felt really great. She waited at Dario's door for a while. Seeing that he didn't speak again, she reminded him softly from outside the door, "Dinner is ready. Come and eat." Dario turned off the computer and looked at Jade at the door. He knew that she'd been watching him from the door. He didn't expect her to be so considerate. "Come in." The two words were forceful, but there was also a trace of gentleness that Jade couldn't resist. Jade thought for a while and then quickly walked out. Dario's eyes filled with disappointment and the smile on his face became stiff. But then a trace of surprise came into his eyes. "Dario, you've been talking for so long. Are you thirsty? Have a drink of water." Dario looked at the cup of hot water in front of him and felt a surge of warmth in his heart. All these years, the secretary of his company had mostly given him coffee. He had tried all kinds of coffee, but he had never been given a simple cup of water with love by anyone. This was the most quenching and the most suitable drink for him. Dario took the cup and placed it on the table. Then he immediately pulled Jade's hand and let her sit on a chair with him. "I know of another way to quench my thirst," a deep and charming voice said in her ear. "What is that?" "Do you want to know? I can tell you right now." Jade could clearly feel his warm lips rubbing against her ear. A stimulating feeling immediately spread throughout her entire body. "No, I don't want to know." Jade smiled and jumped up in a hurry and rushed out recklessly, leaving Dario frowning in the study room. Dario wondered if she was really that embarrassed of him. Or was he really too much? Jade covered her blushing face. Her heart could not calm down for a long time. She quickly patted her face and told herself not to think too much. She took a deep breath and told herself to calm down. Then she washed 2 new bowls. Just as she finished filling the first bowl, a pair of slender and beautiful hands took it from her hands. Jade made tomato soup, pork ribs, fish sautéed with oil and onions, and roasted eggplant. Dario took a look. Although they were all ordinary dishes, they looked very appetizing, and they tasted excellent. He didn't expect his little wife to cook so well. It seemed that he would be eating a lot of delicious food in the future. "I only know how to cook these dishes. I hope you don't dislike them." Jade lowered her head in embarrassment. She felt that Dario should only eat high-quality food. She was worried that he would not be used to her cooking, but Dario didn't show any signs of dissatisfaction. He ate very happily. She clenched her fork because she was very nervous about Dario's reaction. Seeing that he did not speak, she couldn't help but ask, "Dario, is the food any good?" "No, it's all very delicious." Dario looked up and saw nervousness on her face. He couldn't help but smile. "That's good." Jade let out a sigh of relief and started to eat. "You care what I think of you?" "Yes." "That means that you already have me in your heart." "Dario, don't talk while you're eating." "I didn't lie to you. It's really delicious. I'll have another bowl." Dario handed the empty bowl to her as he asked for another. He had always paid attention to his health and never overate, but that day, he couldn't help it. "All right." Jade immediately let out a happy smile and skipped away to get more food. She usually only ate the meals she prepared alone, so she never knew what others would think of her cooking. But that day, someone finally admired her cooking. "Dario, I'm glad that you like it. If there's anything you want to eat in the future, just let me know, and I'll try my best to make it for you. If it's something I don't know, I will learn how to cook it," Jade said, as she handed him another full bowl. Dario, who was holding his fork, was startled. He felt as if his heart missed a beat. After the meal, Jade was about to wash the dishes when Dario suddenly walked behind her and said gently, "Go and rest. I'll wash the dishes." Jade's eyes widened. She almost thought she heard him wrong. "What? Dario, do you know how to wash dishes?" "No." "Then let me do it." But before Jade could do anything, Dario had already pushed her to the side and started to wash the dishes. It didn't look like it was his first time washing the dishes. He looked like he knew what he was doing. She began to suspect that he was lying to her. "Don't look anymore. Go and rest. Otherwise, I'll push you out of the kitchen," Dario said with a straight face. Jade immediately ran out of the kitchen, since she knew that he would really push her out. Jade turned on the TV because she was bored. She didn't want to see explosive news the moment she turned it on. The person the news focused on was someone she knew. It was her aunt, Suzanne Winslet. The general content with the headline was that Suzanne Winslet seduced Victor Carson. The news read that Suzanne dropped in to meet Mr. Victor Carson in sexy attire and drugged him. The high dose of the drug that she gave him almost destroyed his penis. However, the media suspected that he might have been given a fake drug. The reporters also reminded the audience to identify the brand of the drugs bought, alerting people from buying fake drugs. They added that not checking the drugs could have very bad consequences. Anyone could end up in the hospital, just like Mr. Victor Carson. What was even more explosive were the photographs. One of those was a picture of Mr. Victor Carson holding his penis in pain in his room. He even had his pants off. It was obvious that he wanted to have sex with someone, but for some reason, it had become twisted. The other photo was of Suzanne Winslet soaking wet in the lobby. Her hot pink underwear could easily be seen because of the clear water. It was said that it was because Mr. Victor Carson's wife had come to cause trouble. Everyone thought that she was the one who splashed the water. These two people appeared in two different places. Originally, there was no connection between them, but the news brought them together. Jade knew that it was impossible that they were linked. However, the reporter acted like it was certain that they were linked together. There was also a picture of Mr. Victor Carson and Suzanne Winslet together at the Scoville Club. This would make it easier for people to misunderstand. Jade looked carefully and found that it was actually the picture of Suzanne that appeared in the Scoville Club that day. But she didn't know that such a thing happened. Could it be that it happened after she left? Jade was very puzzled. Once the news was released, the Carson family and Winslet family were finished. Everyone knew that John Winslet had an affair with someone else's wife, and that Mr. Victor Carson was not good in that aspect. He still had to take medicine. This was really too funny. Episode 61. A big deal? Jade knew about Mr. Victor Carson, but she could hardly imagine that it would result in something so serious. Why was Suzanne into this? Reporters were unstoppable when it came to writing articles. Jade didn't know what happened after she left the Scoville Club, but no matter how much ever she thought about it, it was impossible for Suzanne to privately meet Mr. Victor Carson for a reason so petty. As Jade puzzled over the events, Dario finished washing the dishes and brought a plate of fruit over. Come on, let's have some fruit. Jade took the plate of apple slices. Each piece was stuck with a cute toothpick. Her heart immediately melted to see that. Her chain of thoughts suddenly broke into something important. It was that day in the Scoville Club. Wasn't it Dario who took her away? She looked at the TV and then looked at Dario with a sudden understanding. Mr. Foster, you did this, didn't you? Jade asked seriously, gazing deeply into his eyes. Dario looked at the news and smiled, but she still detected a trace of coldness. Guess. Jade blinked. She did not expect him to say this. I think it must have something to do with you. She hadn't expected anyone to help her like this. He obviously punished those two people who troubled her to vent his anger. However, she really didn't think that he would take it to this extent. Was Dario really that powerful? Jade wondered. Jade remembered all those times when Suzanne insulted her and her mother. Every time Suzanne was humiliated and called foul names to Jade's mother, her heart broke, and she remembered how. She stopped with a sigh as the news anchor read out the news once again, and she saw the headlines. Jade sighed and chuckled. She then looked at Dario, who was busy having the fruits. Her admiration for Dario deepened. She carefully studied his face. After a long time, she slowly said, Mr. Foster, you said you didn't have a job. You must be lying. I think you have more than a job. She felt stupid, that she should have realized this a long time ago. He could afford a car, a house, a driver, and also a chain of hotels. It was obvious that he was no ordinary person. Dario narrowed his eyes. It seemed that she was smarter than he had imagined. Just by looking at the news, she was sure that it was his masterpiece. He had put in a lot of effort to hide this matter. Don't you trust me at all? Why suddenly accuse me of lying? The Winslet family has some status in Washington. I don't think that Mr. Victor Carson is just some ordinary person. Suzanne is also quite a respectable person in their society. Jade added it was actually not an easy task to punish both Suzanne and Mr. Carson at the same time, so it had to be Dario, given his position, which was not of a common man. You must be more powerful than them. Jade's bright eyes flashed with wisdom. There was a faint smile and a trace of worry on her face. This Dario Foster was really not a simple person. Perhaps he was more powerful than she imagined? Could she really be with such a person? Looks like I can't call you an idiot anymore, Dario said, listening to her analysis. Dario's eyes suddenly showed a trace of appreciation for her. He picked up an apple and fed it to her. He carefully wiped the residue from the corner of her mouth, moving extremely gently. Jade bit the sweet and delicious apple and protested. I've always been smart, okay? After that, she asked curiously, "By the way, Mr. Foster, what do you do for work?" She'd never seen him go to work and had never heard him talk about his job. Jade was a little curious when she saw how capable he was. "If you're so smart, why don't you guess?" Dario's voice was low and magnetic. He took advantage of the opportunity to hold her in his arms. Jade was even softer than the cushion on the sofa beside him. Every time he saw her, he could not help the desire to hold her tightly in his arms. Dario took off his coat. The cuffs of his white shirt were lifted, and 2 buttons were opened on his chest, revealing his muscular chest. She leaned against him and felt his hot body. She felt very safe in his arms, so safe that she could even disappear in those when the same thoughts scared her. Jade broke the trance to take another slice of apple. "I think you must be a big deal." She remembered how he had commanded his subordinates in the study. Ordinary people would not have this authority, aura, or temperament. Jade asked, "So, which company are you running? I can't guess." "Do you really want to know?" Dario inquired. Jade smiled and stuck out her tongue. She said mischievously, "I am not that eager to know. It is said that a woman should always follow her husband." Dario immediately pulled her back. His eyes were a little cold. He leaned close to her ear and said coldly, "You dare to scold me. Your mouth is getting more and more powerful. It seems like you want me to punish you." No, I would never dare to scold you. But I am really curious about what happened at the Scoville Club. What happened to Suzanne? How did she land up there?" Jade didn't like Suzanne, but after all, she was her aunt, and she grew up under their surveillance. But with Suzanne, each day brought her to a new nightmare. So despite seeing Suzanne in this predicament, her heart was very happy. She thought that after she left the Scoville Club that day, Victor Carson and Suzanne would cause trouble and even threaten her grandmother. She didn't expect anything to happen, and the eerie calmness worried her. As it turned out, Suzanne was already too busy to take care of herself. Where could she find the time to stir up trouble with Jade? "You only need to know that they will no longer cause trouble with you." Dario only uttered this one sentence when he saw Jade lost in her thoughts. He could understand what she was thinking about. His domineering and confident words made Jade even more certain that the news reports were his doing. "But why are you doing this?" She didn't understand why he would help her, since they had only known each other for a few days, though she was his wife. She didn't know why it seemed he always appeared just in time to help her, whether it was at the Scoville Club or the dormitory. Jade could not help but suspect that Dario had an ulterior motive. She wondered what was so special about her that warranted Dario Foster's help. "Did you really forget?" Dario's eyes suddenly became serious. "What did I forget?" Jade was confused. Dario narrowed his eyes and looked at the calm face in front of him. 5 years ago, she was young and tender, but she was beginning to emit the aura of a mature woman. Then, his gaze fell on her chest. It seemed that she had developed very well these past few years. The design of her collar revealed this physical development even more accurately. He narrowed his eyes. No wonder so many men had looked at her in the supermarket just now. It seemed that he could no longer let her wear these kind of clothes in the future. Everything about her belonged to him. 5 years ago, just as Dario said these 3 words, Jade's phone rang. She looked down at the number and apologized to Dario before she answered. "Hello, Sheila? Did something happen to my grandma?" Jade nervously held the phone. She knew that Sheila would not call her unless it was an emergency. Episode 62. Peekaboo. "No, Jade, I have some good news. Your grandma's condition is already much better. The surgery is scheduled in 3 days. She's awake today," Sheila said excitedly. "Sheila, what did you just say now?" "Did you say Grandma woke up?" Jade said. She almost cried with excitement. Ever since her grandma fell ill, she had been in a coma. The doctor said that she might never wake up again. Occasionally, she would see her grandmother's eyes move, but only occasionally. "There's a chance that after your grandmother's surgery, she will be completely back to normal. Today, I heard your grandmother calling you by your nickname." Jade was sobbing. She could not wait to go to the hospital.
Really? Sheila, thank you so much. Thank you for taking care of Grandma for me. Jade said this with a smile as she wiped her tears. Actually, I didn't do anything. I heard that someone named Dario Foster hired an out-of-town expert for your grandma. The expert came to see her and was able to diagnose her correctly. I think your grandma's condition was prolonged because there was no specialist to treat her, but she's fine now. Don't worry. You saved my grandmother. Jade turned to Dario while she spoke to Sheila over the phone. Dario was sitting on the sofa. Her eyes were full of gratitude. He had saved her only family. She finally knew the truth. It turned out that the Winslet family had never found an expert to treat her grandmother. This was why her grandmother had never woken up. They had gone too far. Just as Jade was about to thank Dario after hanging up, Dario's phone rang. He looked at the phone, and his expression became much more serious. She thought he had an important phone call to answer, so she went to her room to take a bath. Dario followed her to her room as he asked the other person on the other end of the phone, "How is it? Have you investigated thoroughly?" He paused as the other person spoke. Then he said, "I will give you 3 more days to complete this investigation." Without waiting for a reply, he hung up the call. His behavior suddenly turned cold and dignified. Jade was happily soaking in the bathtub. She did not expect to have such a large bathtub in this bathroom. It made her very happy. She loved bathing despite the waste of water. She began to sing. It's time to take a bath and wash with soap. Wash with soap. Wash with soap. It's time to take a bath and wash with soap, with bubbles in the tub. Now it's time to scrub away the dirt. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Scrub, scrub, scrub. So you are squeaky clean. Dario heard the song coming from inside the bathroom. He laughed to himself. Then he walked forward and knocked on the door, but without waiting, he opened the door and walked in calmly. Jade thought she heard wrong. She looked up and saw that Dario was standing right before her. "Ah, pervert! You walked in on me in the bath." However, Dario did not feel ashamed. He looked very righteous. "I think since we're married, we should divide our work. You just cook food for me, so now it's my turn to help you wash your clothes," Dario said. Jade was helpless as Dario looked at her. She thought he was just joking. She did not expect him to really take away all her clothes and throw them into the washing machine. What made her the most embarrassed was that he saw her in her inners. Though it was not the first time, but this time, she was neither drunk nor hungover. Jade anxiously waited to stand up and snatch the clothes back, but stopped as she was almost naked. She didn't dare to pull herself out of the bathtub. She remained hidden in the bathtub, her hands tightly covering her bust, her face full of vigilance. However, Dario didn't want to look at her, but only took away her clothes. "Dario, stop right there. If you want to wash my clothes, you should at least get me a new set of clothes here first." This was the first time Jade called him by his first name. Dario stared at Jade in surprise. Her face was already red. Then, he suddenly revealed an evil smile. "Ah, I almost forgot that we didn't buy you any new clothes when we went out shopping earlier. You probably didn't bring your old clothes here either, right?" Jade put a hand to her forehead. "Yes, there were no clothes here." "Then how am I going to get out later? You're too much." Jade was about to collapse. She was angry at Dario. He must have done it on purpose. He just wanted to see her make a fool of herself. "Didn't you just say that? You've already married me. We're already husband and wife. I wouldn't mind seeing you naked." Oh my God. He was taking revenge. This was simply too much. After Dario left, Jade was no longer in the mood to continue bathing. She roughly washed her body and stood up. After searching in the bathroom for a long time, she only saw a towel. Her only option was to wrap her body in the towel and leave. It was better than going out naked. The first thing she did was look for clothes, but they had just purchased the house. There was not a single piece of clothing here. The huge wardrobe in the bedroom was empty. She sighed and went to another room to search. She suddenly heard movement in the guest room. There was a light on in the guest room's bathroom, and the sound of water could be heard from inside. She took a closer look and discovered that Dario was taking a bath.
Although there was something stuck to the glass and she could not see inside clearly, she could still see his tall and mighty body, as well as his strong pectoral and abdominal muscles. Jade saw this and immediately covered her eyes shyly. It was too immoral to watch others bathe. But then she remembered he had already peeked at her bathing, and she wanted to get back at him. She decisively moved her hands from her eyes. When she opened her eyes, she saw Dario's private part directly. God, it was actually so big, Jade uttered to herself as if she couldn't believe it. Her face turned red. She didn't know what to do. Suddenly, she heard the sound of splashing water. Jade was shocked. Realizing what she had just done, she turned to run away. However, she did not succeed. She had made it 2 steps away when she was caught by Dario, who came out of the bathroom. He cornered her against the wall. You pervert! Why did you come out here without any clothes on? Jade screamed again. She felt that this day was the most exciting day of her life. Do you like what you saw? Dario stared at her shy face. His voice was low and magnetic, as if he was trying to seduce her on purpose. Episode 63. The Struggle in Arousal. I came to look for my clothes. Jade quickly closed her eyes, not daring to look at Dario. How is it? How about my size? Dario whispered in her ear. He blew his breath into her ear, and that tickled her ears and ran a shiver down her spine. I don't know what you're talking about, you piece of... Leave now! You couldn't look away from me just now, and you're calling me a piece of... Guess who's a piece of... I think you are. Dario wrapped his arms around her waist. She was wrapped in a bath towel now, and Dario could clearly see her breasts. She had just finished bathing, and her body was still wet. The fragrance of the shower gel mixed with the smell of her body. For a moment, he actually had a reaction. His throat was dry, and a feeling of heat rose from his stomach. Let me go! Jade twisted and hit Dario's most sensitive part. Very quickly, she felt something hard pressing against her lower abdomen. She immediately understood what it was. Mr. Foster, don't! Jade closed her eyes, not daring to open them. She did not dare to move her body. She waved her hands around in panic. Damn it, Dario growled. He thought he could control his body well enough, but after meeting this woman, he could not control his body anymore. Mr. Foster, don't be like this. I know I was wrong. I didn't do it on purpose. I really didn't know you were taking a bath. I'll leave right away, okay? She didn't know that things would turn out like this. It's okay. If you want to see, then so be it. In any case, you've already looked at my body several times. Dario bit her earlobe and slowly moved his lips to her chin. In the end, he moved his lips to her delicate lips. He rubbed her lips with his mouth, causing Jade's heart to pound and her body to tremble uncontrollably. Mr. Foster, don't be like this. Jade closed her eyes tightly. She felt as if her body was out of her control and felt strange. Don't you like kissing me? Dario seemed to want to play with her and put her lower lip into his mouth. Soon, her cherry-like mouth became even redder. Her slightly swollen lips made her look even more sexy and alluring. Jade did not dare to answer. Tell me now, do you like it? Dario asked again. Dario saw that she was still ignoring him, so he bit her lower lip harder, as if he wanted to punish her on purpose. It hurts. Jade could not help but moan in pain. She frowned and slowly opened her eyes to meet his burning gaze. Don't you like it? Dario's deep voice was intoxicating. No. Jade did not know how to answer him. It was not like she didn't like what he was doing, but it felt strange. She would never have thought that she would get so intimate with the man in front of her. It all happened too quickly. It's good that you don't. When he heard the answer, a hint of joy appeared in his eyes. He hugged Jade tightly, carefully pried open her mouth, and stuck his tongue in. He extended his wide palm and pressed on the back of her head, pushing the kiss deeper. Jade could clearly feel that the thing pressing against her was only getting harder and bigger. The deeper they kissed, the more afraid Jade felt it. She didn't know what to do. She thought that normal people would think of a way to resist. She didn't know why, but she actually felt a bit reluctant to part with him at this point, though she initially thought of doing so. She was almost suffocated by the kiss and felt the hand on her waist was moving downwards. "No!" Jade cried. She used all her strength to push his body away. She even pinched her thigh hard to keep herself calm. "Mr. Foster, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep." When Jade spoke, her breath was hot and loud. The atmosphere suddenly became different. It was dark in the room apart from the dim bathroom light. He was unwilling to let go of Jade and increased the strength of his arms around her. "I really want to sleep. I have things to do tomorrow." She struggled free from his embrace, but just as she ran out of the door, Dario caught her, picked her up, and carried her to the master bedroom. At this moment, Dario had already been infected with lust. He did not care what she said and pressed her under his body. He could not wait to pull her towel away. This young, naked, and pretty woman teased Dario. Jade, on the other hand, tried to push him away with all her might. But she was just another woman with a weaker structure, so how could she defeat the strong Dario? Dario extended his wide palm and pressed both of her waving hands firmly on top of her head, making her unable to move. This made Jade very ashamed, but it woke her up as well. Dario changed from his usual calm state, as if he had lost his mind and intended to forcefully break in. "Let go of me now. You promised you wouldn't hurt me." Jade lifted her leg and kicked him, but her strength was too weak. She could not hurt him at all. Dario did not plan to stop and bent closer over her. Jade did not say anything. She was eerily quiet. Only the sounds of Jade and Dario's breath were left. She did not resist anymore, and because of this, Dario felt that something was wrong. He stopped and looked up at her. There was a trace of shock in his eyes. He immediately let go of her hand. His expression was a little stunned. Jade was silently shedding tears, and her face was filled with despair. He had once again sworn that he would not let anyone hurt her again, but now he was the one hurting her. Jade raised her hazy eyes and stared at him. Her face was pale. After a long time, she finally spoke. "If you really loved me, you wouldn't do that to me. If all you're looking for is a mistress, I'm sorry, Mr. Foster, you'll have to look for someone else. I just want to give my most precious gift to the person I love the most." A trace of coldness and contempt appeared on Jade's face. Was this contempt towards him? So she wasn't in love with him. Episode 64. Is he angry? Dario didn't utter a word. There wasn't a trace of emotion on his face. It was hard to see in his deep eyes whether he was happy or angry. Jade quickly snatched back the towel, wrapped herself up, and ran to the bathroom. After stopping, she found that her face was extremely red. There was even a twinkle in her eyes. Jade was stunned for a moment. Was the person in the mirror really her? She turned on the tap and poured cold water. Then she threw her face in and used cold water to wash herself. Only then did she wake up to herself a little. After that, she fell into a state of confusion and suspicion. She rejected him because she really didn't want to, or was it because she suggested that if she wasn't his favorite, he wouldn't make love to her? Jade's heart immediately felt a pinch of pain. Only then did she realize that what she cared about was whether he loved her or not. When she looked up at the mirror again, his figure actually appeared in the mirror. Jade was shocked for a moment, but this time he did not appear naked in front of her. He had already put on a pair of underwear, but it seemed that the underwear could not completely cover everything. She was afraid and took a step back. She didn't know what he would do. Dario didn't say anything. He pushed her out of the bathroom, closed the door, and locked it. Jade stood at the door in a daze. She felt a little uncomfortable. Seeing him just like that now, she felt she might have made a mistake. She shouldn't have kissed him. She should have rejected him right from the start. She shouldn't have pushed him away after she aroused his desire. Jade felt guilty. She wasn't the only one to blame for this. Any man would have thought she was interested if she was the one to peek into him while he was bathing. allowing him to hold her close and kiss him. It was her fault. She didn't reject him. Maybe in her heart, she actually liked kissing him. She heard the sound of a bathtub filling with water. The air was filled with his breath. Perhaps he was beginning to hate himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't act like this. Jade felt her heart ache as she laid on the bed. Her mind kept replaying the scene. She didn't dare close her eyes and quietly looked in the direction of the bathroom. She did not know how long she waited before he came out of the bathroom. Jade didn't look into his eyes, afraid to see that cold gaze again. After Dario came out of the bathroom, he remained expressionless, as if he did not see her. He laid on the bed far away from her, as if he wanted to isolate her on purpose. After a long time, Jade took a deep breath. She had begun to utter a word when Dario reached out his hand and turned off the lights in the room. The room suddenly became pitch black. He didn't say anything to her. This icy cold aura was like a sharp knife that stabbed into her heart. He should be angry. I have hurt him. It was all my fault. I shouldn't have let it start, Jade thought. The room was eerily silent. Dario had his back to her. Even if she wanted to talk to him, she couldn't say anything. She sighed softly. She didn't know how long it had been before she fell asleep. When she got up, the sky was already bright. The first thing she did was open her eyes to look at Dario, but she was alone. She reached out and touched the other side of the bed. It was cold. Thinking about what happened last night, she felt extremely conflicted. Forget it, she thought. She had better get up. She suddenly realized something. She was still completely naked. Strange, she thought. She clearly remembered that she slept in a towel last night. Why was the towel gone again? Could it be that that bastard had secretly taken it away again? She anxiously searched the room, then ran to the bathroom to take a look. Even the towel was gone. Then her gaze fell on the bed in the corner of the room. Luckily, she bought 2 sets of sheets yesterday. Jade took out the sheet without thinking and put it on her body. She looked at the funny look in the mirror and remembered that when she was young, she often put on the sheet and pretended that she was a ghost. She looked funny but felt happy. After wrapping her body, she walked out of the bedroom and into the living room. She thought that the clothes she took off yesterday should be on the balcony. She reluctantly began to look for them, worried about only being dressed in a sheet, but she was interrupted. She didn't expect that as soon as she walked out of the living room, something very awkward happened. Dario was in the kitchen. Ah! She let out a scream. She really didn't expect him to be there. She thought Dario was angry with her and would still be giving her the cold shoulder. She didn't think she'd bump into him as soon as she went out. Dario was cooking in casual clothes. When he looked up, he saw Jade coming out with a sheet wrapped around her. He could not help but twitch. What kind of shape was she in? Was she acting crazy? Seeing his expression, Jade wanted to find a hole to hide in. It was too embarrassing. Just as Jade was about to escape, Dario put down the plate in his hand and walked in front of her. He looked at her interestedly, with a pair of charming eyes. Miss Winslet, you walk around naked in the morning. Did you forget I exist? Dario narrowed his eyes and stared at her bedsheet. Jade lowered her head and looked at herself. Her shoulders were still exposed, but at least the sheet covered the rest of her body. She looked up to see him approaching step by step and lowered her head again shyly. Oh, I thought you wouldn't be here. Besides, I'm not naked. As she spoke, she tugged at the sheet on her body so that she could wrap it even tighter. Well, are you wearing anything under that? Next time you come out naked, you better watch out, Dario shouted. There was blame in his serious tone. Although he wasn't afraid of others seeing her, he was still a little worried when he saw Jade come out like this. What does it have to do with you whether I'm wearing clothes or not? Plus, it's your fault. You took away my clothes. Jade stared at him angrily. You idiot. Didn't you look in the wardrobe? Dario sighed helplessly and knocked on Jade's little head. Jade pouted unhappily and kept dodging, but she could not escape from his palm. There are no clothes in the wardrobe. I looked yesterday. Don't lie to me. Wanna bet? Dario pulled her and opened the wardrobe. There are clothes in the closet. Don't I deserve a kiss now? Dario smirked and looked calm. Jade was in awe. Although Jade didn't believe him, she finally understood something after spending a few days with him. Episode 65. Her first kiss for him. Jade knew not to place any bets with him because she was sure to lose. She rejected him sternly. I don't want to. However, she still wanted to give it a try and return to the bedroom. It was worth a shot. The moment she opened the wardrobe, she was simply stunned. The wardrobe had been filled with all kinds of women's clothes overnight. She was embarrassed to see that there were underwear too and blushed shyly. She carefully picked up a pair of underwear and took a look. It was exactly her size. The last time she asked Dario how he knew her size, he replied that his hand was the best ruler. Her face turned even redder at the recollection. God, so many clothes. Even if you wear a new outfit every day for the rest of your life, you won't be able to wear it all, she told herself. Did he really buy these clothes for her? Jade pinched her face to see if she was still asleep. This isn't a dream. Thinking back to when she was in the Winslet family, her uncle and aunt had never bought her a decent pair of clothing, but now someone had prepared an entire wardrobe for her. It would be a lie to say that she was not moved. She chose a plain dress from the dazzling wardrobe. Dario had said that she looked good in a dress, so she wanted to get used to wearing them. After putting it on, she went to the bathroom to wash up. She could not seem to calm her heart. It rushed with the feeling of goodness. After what had happened the previous night, she thought that the relationship between them had already become tense, but he was still so good to her. This made her feel even more ashamed. She had already agreed to be his wife, but she had still rejected him yesterday and used harsh words which would hurt any husband who loved his wife so dearly. He had helped her many times and saved her grandmother too. Thinking of all this, Jade felt even worse. She took a deep breath and carefully walked out of the bedroom. As soon as she stepped into the living room, she smelled something savory. She was surprised to find that there were 2 plates of breakfast on the dining table. Good morning, Mr. Foster. Jade stood barefoot, her reddened face pointed toward the floor. She inadvertently ruffled her hair. She looked mature and approachable. Mr. Foster, can you come over here? Jade shyly lowered her head. Dario, on the other hand, was still seated at the table. He looked at her quietly and did not say anything. Jade's lips were slightly curled up as she stood awkwardly on the spot. You come over here. Dario spat out these words in an irresistible tone. Jade obediently walked forward. Once in front of him, she froze. Sit down. Okay. Jade moved to sit on the seat next to him when she was suddenly pulled over by Dario and made to sit on his leg. Your seat is right here. Mr. Foster, don't be like this. She was not used to being so intimate that early in the morning. Do you have anything else to say? Dario said as if he had seen right through her. Jade looked up and met his cold eyes. After a long time, she stuttered, Thank you? There's more. Hearing her say thank you, Dario did not seem to be very happy. What else? Before Jade could finish, Dario interrupted her with a serious tone. A good morning kiss. We agreed that for every piece of clothing I buy, you give me a kiss. Dario narrowed his eyes. There was a faint smile on his face. Every time he saw her panic, he couldn't help but tease her. I didn't agree to that. Jade looked at him in shock. Oh my God, there are at least 500 pieces of clothing in the wardrobe, she thought. You can pay in installments. Actually, Jade had planned to kiss him from the start to compensate for withholding the night before, but now she didn't want to kiss him at all. Hurry up. She didn't move for a long time, so he hugged her waist and urged her further. He was acting high and mighty, like a king. Jade bit her lower lip and tried to slowly approach his handsome and charming face. However, just as her lips were about to touch his lips, she suddenly turned her face away. Dario narrowed his cold eyes and seemed unhappy. "What is it? Are you going back on your word again? Are you playing with me?" Dario never thought that he could be played by someone one day. "Mr. Foster, will you close your eyes?" Jade asked carefully. "If you don't kiss me, I will kiss you 500 times a day. Do you believe me?" Before Dario could finish, his mouth had been blocked by Jade's cherry lips. A hint of pride flashed across his deep eyes. Jade closed her eyes and kissed him on the lips before quickly leaving. "That's it?" Dario raised his eyebrows and licked his lips. "What else do you want?" Jade shyly asked. She felt like she was about to suffocate. "To continue, of course." Dario pulled the two of them closer together. "I don't want to," she said. "I'm too shy." Strange. When she closed her eyes, she wanted to kiss his face. Why did she kiss his mouth? Damn it. "You don't want to, but I want to. Hurry up. Do you want me to kiss you 500 times? Dario narrowed his eyes and stared at her. His magnetic voice seemed to be trying to seduce her, trying to lure her closer. This man was demonic. Jade wanted to escape, but her body was firmly held by his iron arm. She couldn't move at all. "Jade, honey, come on." "Just for a moment." Dario moved closer to her lips. Jade's heart shook. When she heard him call her honey, she became a little dizzy. She gave him a chance and kissed him again. Dario seized the opportunity and entangled her tongue with his. She was so afraid that she wanted to escape, but the more she protested, the more aggressive he was. Still dizzy, she tried to imitate him and respond to him. At that moment, she thought of nothing but lying in his warm embrace, intoxicated by his breath. Episode 66. Like sweetly married couples. Jade had been intoxicated and didn't know how long the kiss would last, but she felt she was going to suffocate when he removed her lips from hers. Her whole body was numb as she leaned against him, quietly listening to his heartbeat. There was a sweet silence all over. Then Dario suddenly pushed her away. Jade looked at him with some surprise. Dario's eyes had a trace of evasion, and his voice became a little hoarse. "You eat first." He walked towards the bedroom. Jade was shocked at this sudden behavior and thought that was strange. She asked, concerned, "Are you not going to eat?" "I'm going to take a bath first. Don't wait for me." He quickly walked into the bathroom. "Damn it. I don't know how many cold baths I need to take." Dario looked at his uncontrollable body and could not help but curse. Jade sat where she was and felt a little strange. She muttered, "Strange. Didn't he just take a bath last night? Does he have mysophobia? Forget it, I'll just eat." Then she turned her gaze to the dining table, ravenous. She thought a successful man like Dario wouldn't know how to cook, but it was delicious. He'd made eggs Benedict, and it suited her appetite very well. She'd already eaten 2 servings. When she was almost done eating, Dario had changed into a perfectly tailored black suit with a neatly buttoned white shirt underneath. He was holding a wine-red tie in his hand. He stared at Jade and ordered her, "Come over and tie my tie." "Why?" Jade finished the last mouthful of eggs Benedict and asked, puzzled. "Because you are my wife," answered Dario. "But I don't know how to tie a tie." She lied. She learned it during filming. "I'll teach you." "If you know how to tie a tie, why teach me to do it for you?" Jade was indignant. When she saw his eyes, she moved toward him obediently. She comforted herself. Forget it. Isn't it just a tie? A tie is better than being kissed 500 times. Jade pouted unhappily and went forward to take the tie. She gently placed it on his neck, and her fingers inadvertently touched his neck, causing his body to involuntarily tremble. The two of them were very close, and their breath mingled. Jade looked at the strong chest under his shirt, and her heart beat faster. "Hurry up, I have places to be." Dario held her waist and urged her. She did not think that wearing a tie would make them so intimate. Very quickly, Jade tied a neat and beautiful tie. After she was done, she quickly escaped from his embrace, afraid that he would do something to her, or that she would cause trouble again. "You are very professional. In the future, remember to come and tie my tie every day. Do you understand?" Dario looked at her masterpiece with satisfaction. "Are you going to work?" Jade stuck her tongue out at him and deliberately did not answer him. "Don't you want me to go?" Dario said lightly, but there was a trace of joy in his eyes. Jade rolled her eyes at him. Why was this person so narcissistic? However, she didn't dare say this out loud. She could only say it in her heart. "I have to go for the film shoot in the afternoon." "Oh, do you want me to arrange a driver?" Jade was speechless again. "Mr. Foster, you go to work and I will shoot my movie. I can go by myself. If you're in a hurry to go to work, then please hurry up and go. Don't be late." She pushed him on the back and shooed him away. Dario did not say anything. He just quietly took out a credit card from his pocket and put it in her hand. "What are you doing?" Jade looked at his card curiously. "My credit card," Dario said calmly. Jade was shocked. She immediately put the card back into his hand. No, she said. "I can't take this. What's mine is yours. The pin is your birthday. Besides, I'm not giving you all the money. I'm just letting you keep it. If you lose it, I'll punish you." "You know my birthday?" Jade looked at him gloomily. 6/8/96. Dario calmly read out a string of numbers, which stunned Jade. It was indeed her birthday. Dario forcefully stuffed the card into Jade's hands. His words made her heart feel a trace of warmth. He was the first person to remember her birthday. "All right, then I will take good care of it for you. I won't run up a huge bill." Jade held the card and went to the closet to find a bag. She selected one and carefully placed it inside. She didn't know how many women wanted such things, but they couldn't even take care of. "Mr. Foster, hurry up and have your breakfast. It's getting cold." After he finished eating, Jade rushed to snatch the empty plates and went to the kitchen to wash them. She was afraid that he would dirty his clothes and look bad at work. Dario tidied his clothes. When he walked to the door, he thought about it. Then he turned around and said 4 words, seriously. "I'm headed to work." Jade, who was still wiping the bowl, was stunned for a moment. She turned around in a daze and subconsciously replied with 4 words. "Be careful out there." After saying that, the two of them could not help but smile at each other. This scene was familiar. Jade didn't know how many times she had watched loving couples on TV do their morning routine. She did not expect that she would actually perform this scene with someone that day. She felt that she and Dario were like a real couple. It felt wonderful. "Is that it?" Dario stood at the door and put on his shoes. His eyes were locked on her. What else?" "You should say you'll miss me," Dario said with a serious expression on his face. She did not expect him to say something like that. Jade could not help but laugh. In the end, she satisfied him by saying, "Okay, I will miss you," and smiled. Episode 67. So much silicone. Dario's answer was, "I'll try to miss you too. But if you really miss me, then give me a call." Dario smiled. He quickly kissed her on the forehead as a farewell. Jade stared at him fiercely and pouted her lips. She was very dissatisfied. What did he mean by that? "I'm leaving." "Then hurry up and leave. You're so annoying." Dario finally left, but Jade was not used to being alone. Dario had already become a habit in these few days. She touched her face where he had kissed her. Her face became exceptionally pink. The large house seemed so empty without him, but a wave of happiness surged into her heart. Mr. Foster is working so hard. I have to work hard too. Jade patted her face to encourage herself and immediately took out the script director Cade had given her. Cade had suddenly asked her to come and get this script 2 days ago. Jade didn't expect the director to personally call her. What was even more surprising was that it was the female lead script. She asked him if he had given her the wrong one. The director looked at her in surprise. He said to her, "Didn't you screen test for the lead? I thought it was obvious." "Oh, that! I didn't know it was official." Jade was ecstatic. She felt even more grateful to Dario and thought he was amazing. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have got the chance to audition, let alone get the lead role. She wanted to tell him the good news, but something happened. Foster Corporation. Once Dario arrived at work, the people who came to welcome him was not his secretary, but David Swan. He could not keep from frowning. David leaned against the door and blocked his way. He looked at Dario with a smile. "Dario Foster, CEO, I have good news for you. Do you want to know what it is?" Dario glanced at him and said coldly, "I don't want to know. Get out of my way now. If you don't, I'll call security." Nothing good came of seeing David, except for meeting Jade at the bar last time. "Don't, Mr. Foster. We grew up together. How can you treat me like this?" Dario's face twitched. He took out his phone. "Don't, Mr. Foster. I didn't mean anything by it. Come in. There's a surprise behind the door." Dario's face was gloomy. He had a bad feeling. Sure enough, as soon as he entered, he heard 2 coquettish voices. "Dee, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time." "Wow, Dee, you're still as handsome as ever." No. You are getting even more handsome. I love you so much." Dario was stunned for a moment. Then he cast a sharp gaze at the woman who called him Dee. He looked at the beautiful woman on the sofa. He couldn't help but feel a headache. Sure enough, nothing good came from a meeting with David. The woman was wearing tight clothes and a blue wrap dress, which accentuated her devilish figure. She pouted her red lips in dissatisfaction. She walked up to him and said to him in an extremely coquettish tone, "Oh, Dee, you are so bad. Can't I call you that? Monica always calls you that." "She is older than me?" Dario coldly spat out these 4 words. The beautiful woman looked up unhappily and stomped her feet. "Well, my breasts are bigger than yours." After saying that, she puffed her chest out with great confidence. Dario looked at the huge things on the woman's chest. He remembered her chest being flat as an airport runway a few years ago. This woman was called Evelyn. She was Monica's younger sister. The 4 of them had known each other since they were young. His eyes filled with disdain. He said something that made her so angry that she was about to explode. "I hear there are excellent plastic surgeons in this city, but doesn't the silicone make them feel heavy?" In the office, David and Monica couldn't help but laugh. Evelyn blushed in embarrassment and stomped her feet even harder. "Dario, why did you say that? I hate you," Evelyn said. Evelyn was used to him treating her like this, so she didn't get angry. She just pouted and sat back on the sofa. "When did you get here?" "Today the 2 of you came together. What a coincidence." Dario looked at Monica and asked. His tone was much gentler and his eyes were softer. This made Evelyn even more unhappy. "Dee, you don't have to pay attention to me anymore. I just finished filming and I have a few days of free time. Evelyn just came back from overseas, and being the younger one, I pampered her and went to pick her up at the airport today." Monica was still the same as usual. She wore delicate makeup and sunglasses. She was wearing a pair of tight-fitting pants and a pair of 7-inch long heels. Her long legs were prominent, and her entire body exuded the dominating aura of a queen. Dario smiled. "Evelyn, let's not disturb Mr. Foster's work. He earns hundreds of dollars every minute." Monica took off her sunglasses. Evelyn's expression changed when she heard that. Her eyes were full of reluctance. I don't want to leave. I just got here. Evelyn kept stealing glances at Dario as she spoke. Her face also turned slightly red. Monica elegantly rolled her eyes at her impatiently. Every time you see D, you always behave like a crazy person. You don't say anything when you see him. When you can't see him, you want to die. Now, you have a chance to talk to him, but you are just fooling around with words. Hurry up. What are you two talking about? Evelyn's face turned red at Monica's words. It was as if she had changed into a different person. Monica pushed Evelyn towards Dario. With one last push, Evelyn fell into Dario's arms. Dario gave Monica a cold look, but Monica put on her sunglasses and pretended not to see anything. If he didn't do something, Evelyn would have fallen. Dario only needed to reach out his hand to support her, but Evelyn took the opportunity to lean onto his strong chest. When David saw the scene, he looked as if he wanted to say something but didn't. Evelyn and Monica had no idea about Jade yet. Episode 38. The cold CEO was happy. David approached to tell Evelyn something when a voice rang near his ear. David, don't disturb the cute couple, Monica said. He was hesitating if he should tell Evelyn. He turned around and followed Monica. Now only the two of them were left in the office. Dario asked indifferently, Are you okay? When Evelyn said she was not hurt, Dario immediately let go and deliberately kept some distance from her. Evelyn stood there awkwardly and could not help but look at the handsome face that she had missed for a long time. Her heart was beating fast. After a while, she asked carefully, Dario, I have a concert in 3 days. Will you come? I'm busy. He glanced at her. Evelyn suddenly felt a stab of pain, but there was still a smile on her face. Monica and I have to leave. She opened the door and rushed out. Dario didn't notice, but her eyes were filled with tears. Evelyn smiled bitterly and comforted herself. Why wasn't she used to it? He had always been so cold to her. When Monica saw her come out, she looked as if she had expected it. She patted her sister's shoulder and said lightly, Come on, let's go. Evelyn reluctantly looked at Dario's office and nodded her head regrettably. After Dario left, Jade had been reading the script and found that it was already noon. She touched her empty stomach and realized she had forgotten to eat. Just as she went to see what was in the fridge, her phone rang. The contact was saved in her phone as Dear Hubby. She did not remember saving such a number. After she answered, a low and familiar voice came. Open the door. Jade heard his voice and immediately ran to open the door excitedly. She originally thought that she would see Dario, but she did not expect that the person standing at the door would be Lucas. Hello, Lucas. Jade felt a sense of disappointment in her heart. Lucas handed her the bag and said respectfully, This is what Mr. Foster asked me to prepare. What is this? Your lunch? If you don't need anything else, I will be on my way. Sorry to trouble you. Goodbye. Lucas turned around and left with a bitter face. Good. He had another job now, delivering meals. Jade smiled and watched Lucas leave before closing the door. Just as she put down the bag, she heard his voice from her phone again. Did you miss me? Were you disappointed to see Lucas at the door instead of me? No. Aren't you coming back for lunch? Jade blushed. I am a little busy today, but if you want company, I can come back immediately. There was a trace of charm in his words. Do what you need to do. I'm going out this afternoon. Although she denied it, she did miss him in her heart. It seems like you don't miss me very much. Have a good lunch. You must eat everything, he said. Otherwise, I will punish you, Dario said in a domineering manner, smiling devishly. Jade ignored Dario's last sentence and said excitedly, Mr. Foster, I got the role of decadent lady. It's the lead role. Thank you very much. If you hadn't asked me to go to the audition last time, I wouldn't have known that the crew was back. Hearing Jade's boastful words, Dario appeared very indifferent. Really? Well, congratulations. His tone was calm and surprised. She opened her mouth wide and said in disbelief, Mr. Foster, you already knew. Yes. Why didn't you say so? It was Cade that called you, wasn't it? Jade said discontentedly. How could Dario be so powerful? He knew everything. Jade opened the lunch bag and found both lunch and desserts. It looked delicious. Mr. Foster, are you trying to turn me into a pig? Yes, then no one will try to snatch you away from me. You're conniving, Jade said angrily as she ate. She couldn't help but ask with concern. Then what are you eating? I haven't eaten yet. It's after 1 o'clock. Why haven't you had your lunch yet? Jade said. My wife is still hungry. How could I dare to eat? Dario's low voice rang in her ears. When she heard him call her wife again, Jade became even more shy. After that, she hurriedly finished the conversation. Otherwise, she would not be able to eat properly. Hurry up and eat. Goodbye. She hung up. After eating, Jade packed up her things and went out. She originally wanted to look around and take the bus, but she did not expect a red Ferrari to stop in front of her just as she walked out of the neighborhood. Miss Winslet, are you going to the film set? Get in the car. Jade looked at Lucas in the car in surprise and said in disbelief, Have you been waiting for me since you dropped off my lunch? Come on in. It's on Mr. Foster's orders. Lucas nodded lightly. Thank you, Jade said gratefully, but she could not help but think to herself, why does Lucas look so similar to his boss, so stone-faced? The first thing Jade did after getting into the car was send a text message to Dario. Mr. Foster, thank you for lunch and your driver. Then, a few of the high-ranking employees at Dario's company, who were sitting in the meeting room, saw something they had never seen before. Dario, who was in a serious meeting, smiled and looked at his phone in front of them. He was even replying to Jade immediately. Just when the higher-ups were curious about who could make the usually stern Mr. Foster show such expression, they immediately felt a chill at his gaze. Why are you all looking at me? Continue the meeting, Dario said emotionlessly with a cold glance. Shocked, they continued the meeting. Episode 69. Banned. In just a few seconds, Jade's phone lit up. It was a text message from Dario. You can thank me in bed tonight. Jade's face turned red. She immediately stuffed her phone back into her bag without replying. He couldn't be serious. But she could never beat him in an argument. He was too smart. Today, Jade went to the film set. She played the role of the person who was beaten. Because there were still 2 scenes that needed her, the director called her back. Jade? Who is that handsome guy driving the Ferrari? Is he your boyfriend? Violet asked. She was a guest character on set. Although Jade kept a low profile and got out of the car far away from the theater, Violet still saw her and was very curious. He isn't my boyfriend, Jade said nervously. She wanted to say that the car he drove was too high profile and did not suit her at all. She felt just fine taking public transportation. Is that so? Then introduce me to him. Violet's eyes instantly lit up. I'll have to ask him first, Jade said somewhat awkwardly. Forget it, I was just joking. Why didn't you come the last time Cade was here to pick a role? I called you a lot, but you didn't answer. She was still a little angry when she talked about what had happened that day. They were close friends in school, but she wasn't always there for Jade. In the end, it was Dario who was there for her. Speaking of what happened that day, I was very angry. My parents kept saying that I had no future in acting. They wanted me to find a man and get married quickly. They even took my phone, Violet said angrily. Then she thought of something important and pulled Jade's hand excitedly. Oh yeah, Jade, I heard that someone got the lead role and she has the same name as you. She's also called Jade. Jade smiled awkwardly and did not say anything. Wait a moment. Oh my God. It is you. Jade shyly nodded and said, I didn't expect it either. Maybe I got lucky. Oh my God. You're going to become a huge movie star. Don't forget me when you're famous. I would love to be your manager for the rest of my life, Violet said excitedly, still holding her hand. She thought Jade was so beautiful and knew she would one day become famous. Violet was different. Her looks weren't outstanding and her acting skills were not good either. She could only get small roles. It won't be that easy to get famous. Jade really didn't know what else to say. Every female lead in Cade's TV series is super famous. You're next, Jade. You have to work hard. Violet patted her hand affirmatively. Her eyes were full of trust, but also envy. It was as if Jade was already a big star. I will work hard, Jade smiled, her mind racing. That's right. She really should work hard. She couldn't always let Dario do everything for her. She still had to take care of her grandmother, so she had to work hard to earn money to provide for themselves. While the two of them were chatting, the two girls who had filmed a scene with her the last time, Rosie, walked over with her assistant wearing sunglasses. Although Rosie had tried very hard to cover her swollen face with heavy makeup, Violet could still tell at a glance. Who is this? Wow! It's really Rosie? Why is she so fat? I almost recognize her. Violet deliberately moved closer to look at Rosie's face and said with a smile. Last time she hit Jade. Now she was mocking Rosie. Rosie was very angry at Violet's words, as if the volcano in her heart erupted for Violet's words. Her script wasn't originally like that. She didn't know why the director suddenly changed her script after she and Jade got together that day. The director even added a lot of scenes of her being beaten up. He even changed the ending. Originally, the female supporting role's ending was pretty good. In the end, she got together with the male supporting role. But now, her role had actually changed to seduce the male lead. The director had also added many scenes where she had been beaten up by the female lead, her relatives and friends. The director also wasn't happy with her performance in the fight scenes. They had to do many takes, and she was going to be beaten up in every single one of them. In order to keep her role, she had to swallow her anger. But Violet, this insignificant person, actually dared to mock her. And Jade, she was still a slut. You have such a small role. What gives you the right to talk to me like that? After that, Rosie looked at Jade again. Her eyes were full of disdain. She said in disdain, And Jade, you are really powerful. You can actually negotiate with Cade. How many times have you made love to him? Jade was momentarily stunned. Just as Jade was about to retort, Violet suddenly rushed in front of her. She fiercely scolded, Rosie, you have to be careful when you speak. You are just jealous that Jade is prettier than you and better at acting than you. You've had so much plastic surgery, no one would believe you're acting even if you were playing a dead body. How dare you? I'm going to teach you a lesson. Rosie was angered by Violet's words. Just as she raised her hand to hit Violet, she was stopped by her assistant. Violet stared at her in disdain, arrogantly approached her and said, Hit me. Just try. I'll call those reporters outside to come in and take a picture. I'll give you a chance to make the headlines today. Rosie's assistant whispered something in her ear and dragged her away. Jade, Violet, you really have guts. I want you to all know the consequences of offending me. I want you all banned. Rosie gritted her teeth as if she wanted to eat them both. Who do you think you are? You don't have the right to ban us. Violet said in disdain. She did not care about what Rosie said at all. Then she looked at Jade guiltily and said, I'm sorry I implicated you. I hope I don't cause you any trouble. Episode 70. Michael offers to help Jade. Jade looked at her emotionally. She was very happy to have such a friend who was willing to stand up for her. It's okay. Thank you for believing in me so much and helping me. No problem. I'm just a minor character anyway. After graduation, I don't plan on doing anything. I'm not afraid of being banned, but you're different. I believe that you'll be famous. You're much prettier than those actresses who've gone under the knife. Don't joke around with me. Before Jade could finish her sentence, field service rushed in and said anxiously, Hey, Jade, why are you still changing clothes? The director is looking for you. Oh, I'll be right there. Jade did not think much about it, but Violet looked nervous and quickly held her hand. Did Rosie go talk to the director? If you won't let her continue filming, that would be really bad. Look at how nervous you are. I'm not the lead earning hundreds of thousands of dollars in a single episode. I'm just a minor character. I only earn $30 a shoot. If I can't shoot, then I won't shoot it. Don't worry, I'm going, Jade said indifferently. But she still cared about the money in her heart because she really needed money. I'll go with you. If it doesn't work, then we'll leave. Okay. They arrived in time to watch the male lead filming a scene. Violet's eyes lit up when she saw the male lead, Michael Porter. She almost drooled at his sight. Wow, my prince, charming. I really want to ask for his autograph. Violet was infatuated the moment she saw him. If Michael wasn't filming, she would have run up to him for an autograph. Seeing how excited Violet was, Jade couldn't help but take a look. She'd only seen this man in TV dramas before. His looks and acting skills were both very good. His acting skills were even more impressive in person. He was a real actor. However, Jade could not forget just how handsome Dario was, even in front of this handsome movie star. Jade felt that this heartthrob was only so-so. Hey Jade, what are you doing here? The director shouted. Jade looked nervous and had to force herself to walk up to him. She was afraid that the director would ask her to scream, but he didn't. He took out a stack of scripts for her. This is your new script. Hurry up and memorize it. The director threw her a stack of papers. Jade's jaw dropped when she read the script. What was going on? Didn't she only have 2 lines? How could there be such a thick script? Director, what is this? Jade looked at him in confusion and thought, did he give her the wrong script? Did field service not tell you? Tell me what? Oh, you've been added into about 20 more scenes? The rest of the script is still changing. You can go ahead and memorize it, said the director. What? Jade took the script with trembling hands and looked at it carefully. The number of scenes she was in had indeed increased dramatically. At this rate, she, as a minor character, would become the 3rd most important actress in this movie. Violet saw her walking over in a daze and hurriedly went forward to ask, Jade, how's it going? What did the director say? Jade was still in a daze and her eyes were unfocused. She could not believe what had just happened. Hey, what's wrong with you? Violet gently patted Jade's face, and only then did she wake up. She took out the script and said in disbelief, the director said that he would add more scenes for me? Hey, this is a good thing. Why are you in a daze? Jade, it looks like you're going to be famous. She had a mysterious expression on her face. She quietly moved closer to Jade's ear and said happily, recently, Rosie has been inexplicably added to many scenes where she gets beaten up. The director said that Rosie was so dedicated to her work and convinced her it would be better on camera if it were a real fight. Now, she gets beaten up almost every day. They hit her mercilessly. Why is she allowing this? She isn't the kind of person to swallow her anger. I know. I also heard she was also angry. She wouldn't film anymore. The director said that if she didn't, someone else would get her role. But if she left, he wouldn't give her a single cent. Plus, she would have to pay a ton for the breach of contract, so she can only endure it now. Violet was very happy when she heard this news. The more Jade heard, the more strange it sounded. It sounded like someone was deliberately making trouble for Rosie, but she could not think why. After reading the script, Jade sensed that something was wrong. It seemed that this was originally Rosie's role, but now it had become hers, and there were many more scenes with Michael. Jade, are you ready? The director asked. I'm ready. This scene was with Jade and Michael. Normally, a small character like her would not even be able to see the male lead, let alone film a scene with him. Violet was drooling with envy. Okay, action. Jade looked even more pure and beautiful in her makeup and clothes for the film. Even though she was playing a servant, her appearance stood out the most. All eyes were on her. Who asked you to kneel here? Michael asked in character. Jade raised her head slightly when she heard his voice, looking frightened. She then lowered her head and said softly, Master, I made a mistake and knelt on my own accord. At this moment, the camera zoomed in, and there was a trace of grievance and stubbornness in her eyes. Michael sighed and said somewhat helplessly, The madam made you kneel, right? Get up. No need, Master, I'm fine. Jade bit her lower lip and frowned slightly. She seemed to be in pain, but she was holding it in with all her might. It made people feel sorry for her. Get up, I order you. Michael reached out his hand to help her. Jade avoided his help. I can get up by myself. Jade was currently acting as a weak woman who'd been exposed to the sun and knelt for an afternoon. She unfocused her eyes and swayed her body. Her acting was very convincing. She took a deep breath and stood up shakily as if her legs felt painful. She made herself almost fall several times. Every time Michael tried to help her, she forced herself to stand up without his help. She forced herself to smile and said with difficulty, "Sir, if there's nothing else, I'll leave first." She covered her knees with a pained expression on her face and limped away slowly. Michael sighed silently.